Hey everyone, welcome back to the Basic Butch Tarot. My name is Jennifer Rose and I am the head butch in charge here. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. Today is week 4 of the 7-part series of the Laws of Karma, and today's law is the law of responsibility. And yes, I know it's Saturday and the last thing we want to be thinking about is responsibilities. However, we have already started this interpersonal transformation, and the law of responsibility is absolutely necessary in pushing forward to our peacefulness. It's also a really difficult for me. It's a difficult one for me personally. So I'm hoping to learn something from the cards today as well. I have created a 4-card read surrounding the law of responsibility. But just in case you need to know quickly, the law of responsibility just asks us, it tells us what we need to do is, to add conscious thinking before action. Like before we do anything, we should add some thinking to it. We need to think before we act, think before we react, okay? We have to own all of our decisions and know that no one else is responsible for our choices. We have to accept the total and complete responsibility for all of our decisions. That includes what we choose to feel, think, do, and say, okay? So, if you find yourself in a situation where you don't like something, maybe the first thing you should do is look inside of yourself and ask yourself, what your part is in this situation, and that might give you a really good answer. So let's start off this read with the first card here, which is, where do I start? Okay, so we've got the Page of Swords. So we start with information, sword, air signs, information, knowledge. And so this is a, sorry, I'm rambling a little bit here. So right now I'm providing you with some information about the law of responsibility. And I know that we all are probably aware that there's a law of responsibility. But I'm giving you some information. So this might be somebody's first time, or maybe it's the first time in a while that it's been brought up to you. So you have the information, and now that you have the information, you're looking backward and you're thinking, and you're really interested in it. We're really interested in making this change, and we're also interested in taking responsibility. Okay. So we're looking backward at past situations that maybe we didn't feel so great about. Maybe we never had some closure with a situation. And sometimes that could be that we're not owning up to our part in it. And, looking back is essential. It doesn't mean that you have to go through the whole damned thing again. Like if it's a fight with your parents, a fight with a partner, if it's just, something, like really shitty and triggering, you don't have to go back through that whole situation, okay? You don't have to do that. But you could sit back and just look at it from your point of view and, put yourself there. Like, what were you doing? What were you doing? What was your part in the situation, okay? Like, sometimes it takes some time for us to be able to see that, and we also have to be willing to be able to see our part in a situation. So we're gonna get a new perspective from looking backward. We're gonna get some growth, and we're gonna get some more information that we can carry forward, okay? So take this information, know that your decisions are your decisions, that we need to do some really critical thinking before we do any acting, and this person is definitely ready to do some quick acting, but that person is gonna act by getting started on taking some inventory of things in the past that are sticking out like a sore thumb, or that person that you lost, your friend, your what have you, just something that didn't sit right with you. And I don't know if this is the same for you as it is for me, and I'll bet it is, but sometimes I know immediately when a decision leaves my mouth or the end of my fingertips at the end of that email. As soon as I send it, I know I've made a shitty choice. And then I'm just like trying to figure out if I mitigate it, if I try to let it slide, I don't know. But sometimes my thought is, an afterthought, okay? And I can still, you know, like go back and take responsibility for that really quickly. And most people are really kind and gracious to me when that happens. I'm not always kind and gracious to myself when I cause myself some problems, however, and I'm working on that. And remember to be kind to yourself with this information too. Like I know that this is an action card and this is a, you know, ready to get going. But just, you know, make sure to take care of yourself while you're, you know, going back through and analyzing some things that you want to place yourself in, okay? It could be overwhelming. Take some breaks, especially if you're journaling and just kind of regurgitating this stuff. And then just, you know, let it go. You've got the information, so you know what to do, okay? So the next card that we're going to talk about is, what do you need to release? What is it that you need to release? Okay, so you need to release being right. I know that's one for me. You need to release being in control. And, you know, having to be in control of something is, you know, a whole other topic in and of itself, okay? But if you can release having to be in control of a situation, having to, you know, like follow rules, and even maybe rules that you've made up yourself that are just arbitrary and they just support you, like you should release, you know, being that type of person, that having that kind of energy when we're trying to take responsibility, because we do need to have control of ourselves, though. You know, like that's not something that we should necessarily release, right? We should have some control over our thoughts and how we react and feel and do and say and all that stuff that I said before. But this is asking us, you know, what we should release, so we can also release that as well. That control that we have to have will often get us into situations that, you know, end up in fighting, or end up in, you know, just like a bad day, a bad evening out. And, you know, like we all kind of know when we're that person, when we're that person with like the stinky attitude walking away from it. And maybe we're the person that we're like, well, if we're not doing this thing that I wanted to do, then I'm just not going to do it at all. I'm that person totally. So, you know, maybe we need to release, you know, just like having control over that situation and trying to have control of other people's thoughts and feelings and what they do or feel or say, because we only have control over what it is that we can do, right? We just have control over ourselves. So releasing control over others and over other situations and trying to manipulate them and overpower other people's, you know, thoughts and feelings and what they want out of a situation. Not doing that would be a really great way of taking responsibility, and it will create a new ripple with you and your friend group or your family group and with yourself. You'll feel better if you can release just having to have control, or just having to have you know, particular rules that nobody else knows but you around it, okay? Great way to release and earn some responsibility. And let's see here. The next card is, what do we need to embrace? What do we need to embrace here? Okay, so the Knight of Wands, what do we need to embrace? So we need to embrace this looking backwards. Like both of these folks here in these cards are looking backwards. This horse, and this is like full steam ahead backwards. You know, you can see the air going through the trees there, and the clouds are moving with the swiftness of this information that someone has gathered, and now they're taking that and they're looking backward and they're saying, oh yeah, I can see where I did that. Ah, shit, you know, like, yeah, that was me. And this card is saying, yeah, you know, keep pushing, keep looking backward there. You know, it's you know, like, just know that looking backward and going through all of this, relinquishing the control that we want over situations and people, and even the control that we have over ourselves. Like, well, sometimes we're like too controlling of ourselves, and it doesn't cause us to have any thought in a situation. We just kind of act because we think we know everything, or we think we're right about something, and like we could be wrong. So while we have this stick in our hands, we can see that other leaves are growing off of this stick. So if we fight this battle, if we take this information and we put it into motion and we keep going forward and we embrace it and we're really real and we really get down with ourselves and say, yeah, no, I was the one that really started that fight. No, yeah, that person told me that thing, and oh no, I'm not talking to that person anymore, and oh, shit, that's probably why. Oh, I can't believe I did or said that. So just embracing it. Just don't beat yourself up over it, though. Like, don't take the stick and beat yourself with it. The good news is that you have a whole lot of armor on, and so you can get through whatever it is that you're going to see when looking backward and trying to take more responsibility for yourself, okay? This is a fiery movement. Wands are fire, like you've got the ambition and you've got the drive, you've got the motivation, you're inspiring other people to do it. Your action of looking backward and taking responsibility for things and healing those wounds that you've had open forever. I mean, really think about that. Those wounds that are open, taking responsibility for that creates a whole different story there, and will probably give you a little bit of, will cause you to have some allowances for some other people or situations that were, like involved in whatever it is that you're looking back at, right? Gosh, I hope that made sense. I know I'm rambling a whole lot. This is kind of exciting. So we're looking backwards and we're embracing it. We're going to do the damn thing. We're going to do the work. We're going to take responsibility. We're going to go forward. We're going to have good, positive karma coming back and forth to us from this point onward. All right. So the fourth and final card of this read is, so you're doing all this work. What is next for you? What's next about this? Ooh. Okay, so what's next is the Moon card. So, once you revisit this past, these things that we're taking responsibility for, these situations that we've been in, that we may have hurt someone, or we've walked away feeling hurt from, or not quite right about, or maybe we felt like a shithead about it, really. Revisiting it isn't a bad thing, but... excuse me, after revisiting it, we're going to definitely be doing some shadow work, okay? And the first thing that I thought when I saw this Moon card, sorry, I had to take care of a device that won't quit ringing. The first thing that I thought of when I saw the Moon card is just about, illusions and deceptions. Like, if you're thinking that something isn't the way that it's supposed to be, perhaps taking a look back at it and putting yourself in that place and taking responsibility for your place in it will help you understand, that it's not just an illusion or deception. And I just also want to say that, we deceive ourselves and we create our own illusions about situations. So I want to caution you about, living in the illusion territory and not bringing yourself out of it, okay? Like, it's really important to do this emotional work here that the Moon asks and suggests for us to do. This work isn't always like the brightest work that we want to do, but, if something isn't as it appears to be in a situation, like you're thinking about something that happened and it still just doesn't make sense, maybe placing yourself in that situation, like really owning up to your part in it might, give you the answer to that. And, just don't stay in the shadows. This doesn't, this doesn't call for you to, sit and wallow or be super depressed. I mean, some of this stuff might make you shitty, like it might make you feel bad, and it may make you shitty. Like it may make you shitty to someone else, and you're realizing like, oh yeah, that person is, mad at me because I was kind of shitty to them, and now I understand it. And it kind of, doing this work, in my experience, it helps me see someone else's perspective, which is really important. Yeah, the moon is also just about misunderstandings, and some of these things that we think might have been just like these unforgivable acts, maybe people that we've, like kind of even tossed out of our lives, or, what have you, however that works. The misunderstanding can come into light here if you commit to doing this work. And, the reward from this is less anxiety and a more positive feeling about, your karma that you're going to get back, and just feeling good about yourself, and just releasing that stuff, and releasing all these things that have been stuck in your heart and your mind forever. After you place yourself in there and you take responsibility for it, it really just opens up a whole new world, some more insight into the situation, and then you can give some forgiveness and move forward. Okay. So responsibility. Remember, y'all, like we have to take responsibility for our actions, and if we're grown-ass adults, we cannot be, just blaming our parents or something that happened in our way past for our current actions. We can't continue to do that, or we'll just stay in this, we'll just sit in an illusion like, okay, well, I'm always in the right, and like I don't have to do any work on myself or look backward. I don't need to look back at that argument to see my place in it. I know what it was. Like we don't want to sit in that energy. Okay, we want to move forward. We want to move forward. And before I go, I'm going to draw one more card and ask Spirit, on this moon, I want to ask Spirit, how do we move forward from being in this energy and being in this, like we might have created just like grand illusions about this whole big something that happened to us. We might have had just like an illusion about it. We might have deceived ourselves about the whole situation, and we might be uncovering that. So, like how do we move forward from this energy? Because this is a really emotional energy, okay? And, if we don't have the correct tools or the correct support, sometimes we can kind of stay in that, or the deception can get a little bit deeper, okay? So let's see how we can go forward from that real quick. Okay, so we can go forward with the Six of Cups, and this is still like past, okay? So reach out to a friend, go buy yourself some flowers even, and think about the happy nostalgic things. So while we're looking backward and putting ourselves in situations where we need to take responsibility for, don't forget to remember the happier things. I just received some guidance that said to tell you, when you get in this energy, think about a happy memory or a happy thought, and really just put yourself in that happy memory or happy thought for a minute, and allow yourself to be there. And then remember that and conjure that back up every time you feel like you're down, or when you're working on this stuff, because this stuff that we're doing here, this work on ourselves spiritually, isn't the easiest, okay? And being in our emotions sometimes requires a little bit of help from our friends. We get by with a little help from our friends. So if you need somebody, look, if you need somebody, give them a call. Walk over to their house. Send them an email, send them a text. They'll be happy to hear from you. And just remember the good memories, especially if you're looking backward and, you know, like it's relationshipy things or it's about your siblings. Like, try to think about the good memories you had with those people too, especially if they're no longer here, no longer around, that you have no contact with. I also want to say that this is a time to forgive yourself, okay, while you're also coming to the reckoning about your role in, you know, something, you know, you're taking responsibility for your actions. Just remember that, you know, I lost what I was going to say. Just remember, you know, like we're going forward here and we don't have to take all of this, you know, with us to the future. We just don't, it's just too heavy for us to carry, and we're trying to, you know, really create a positive way going forward with our lives. So just remember to reach out to somebody if you need them, okay? Don't stay here, and don't stay in the past either, okay? Just remember to move forward. And if you find yourself, you know, lingering in the past and the negative, bring forward some really happy memories, all right? Awesome. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel today. My name is Jennifer Rose. I would love it if you subscribe to my channel and hit that like button, the notification bell, because sometimes I release videos whenever, you know, life allows me to. So I'm not always on schedule, so the notification bell will let you know. And I will see you next Friday for a love read. And hey, if you have any questions in love and you'd like to get a reading on that, put that in the notes here too, and I'll see about it. Thanks so much.